next slide. Cyber medicine, which brings it to another level, internet and global networking. So if there's a doctor in India doing a complicated medical procedure, there could be a doctor in Ohio who's monitoring that procedure and helping direct that doctor during that procedure, or that operation. So it really makes the world a smaller place for us with the internet. Also, as a teaching tool, teaching medical students over the internet. So like I said, those cyber examinations, really good for remote and rural caregiving and rural operations. So if we look at technology and caregiving, if we look at intelligent care, we can look at some of this smart home technology. So has anyone seen any of these sort of smart homes that are out there? Does anyone live in a smart home? My home is, particularly when I'm there, is especially not a very smart home. It's smarter when I leave the room. But actually, the smart home technology is really kind of neat. There'll be sensors that are placed all over the house. There'll be cameras that are placed in the house. And you're able to monitor remotely what's going on in that house. This is probably one of the more simple ones. As you can see here, there's a woman, and there's a pressure-sensitive sensor that's placed next to her bed. When she steps out of bed and steps on that sensor, it'll automatically record that this person has stepped out of bed. Now, that might not be applicable for a lot of people, but if you think about somebody with some wandering behaviors, with dementia, particularly during the night, you would know when that person got out of bed, and it would alert you. They actually have some where if the partner's sleeping with the other person, if they step out of bed, it'll trigger this pillow shaker. So it's like a vibrating device that goes in the pillow. So it doesn't sound an alarm, it just gently lets you know that your spouse has gotten out of bed, and they may be going to the bathroom, which is fine, but you're aware that they're out of bed. If they don't come back for a while, you know maybe you need to get up and check on them. So really kind of cool technology. Some of the other ones, advanced communications and response systems. Some of these can be hooked up to record movements and record actions and report those actions to someone else. So say your daughter lived in Colorado. She would be able to monitor the care recipient's behavior from Colorado. It would show up on her computer screen as to when you got up, where you went, when you used the bathroom, when lights were turned on and off, when doors were open. So it's kind of neat. In terms of caregiving, you could say that it promotes independent living. I don't know if it promotes independent life, but it promotes independent living. Facilitates distance caregiving. So like I said, those caregivers that don't live in town, they're able to monitor a person's safety and well-being from a distance. Smart care technology, which is closely related. Unfortunately, it's not the shoe telephone, as you remember from Get Smart back in the days. Auto reminders and health monitoring systems. These are things like, and I know they're making them these days, there'll be computerized chips that are built into medicine jars that will monitor when the particular jar is opened, when it's closed, actually the weight of the jar if you put it onto this computerized pad, so it knows 2 pills were taken. It's very sensitive. It can report that to either to a caregiver or it can report that to a physician. So it knows when the prescription has gone empty, it knows how many pills you've taken, when you've taken those pills. It can also send reminders. So you can have a cell phone. If the sensor knows that this pill jar has not been opened, it can send you a phone call. So you pick up your phone and it says, you know, Charlie, you forgot to take your diabetes medication. Pretty cool, kind of scary. Even scarier, we can take it one step farther. Robotic assistance with care. They're currently in the process of developing robots as caregivers. So these robots can remind you of when things need to be taken care of, to even more difficult tasks of transferring patients from a bed to a wheelchair, helping people get up off the couch, that type of thing. They're pretty sensitive, but they're also pretty rudimentary as well. But you can see in the future, 20 years from now, I don't know what that technology is going to look like. It could be a very efficient robot. I know we have, does anyone have one of those robotic vacuum cleaners? Do you? Do you like it? Is it?
It works. We finally learned the motor off of it. It just did its little thing, and then it would go back into its little, it goes right back to its little plug-in thing. That's around.
See, that's really neat. I mean, it's funny, as a guy, we all talked about, when I was younger, we dreamed about the day that we would have that flat screen TV that you could hang on the wall. And we talk about it, and, you know, that day will never arrive. It's too glorious. Well, a few years ago, that glorious day finally arrived for us guys, and we were able to hang our TVs on the wall now, and we have giant TVs. So it was a great moment as a man. So I really honestly think that some of these robots are probably going to be effective helpers around the house, and effective helpers in terms of caregiving, particularly with some of the physical aspects of caregiving. Lifting people up and transferring people is a really trying task, especially if that's a spouse and you're the same age. Really difficult. A lot of injuries for people who work in nursing homes occur because they are transferring patients and residents. So some of the robot technology I think would work. A lot of them are being developed in Japan. So we'll see if they come over this way. I thought we could look at a couple of these technologies. This is kind of neat. Falls, as we know, are a big problem for older adults, particularly older adults with dementia. Some of these slides, these are extra bonus slides that weren't included in here. I try to do it with my students so they stay interested. It doesn't work, but I continue to do it. So, certain cell phones, you can have them built in with this accelerometer, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But essentially what it does, it'll record your body position and quick changes in your body position. So if you're upright and you're moving, it's not going to record that. If the body position changes, and it changes in a rapid manner, it will record that a fall has happened, and it'll automatically dial whatever emergency number you have programmed into it, which is pretty neat. I'm not sure what happens when you drop your phone. Whether that also calls the number and says, "Mom is falling," I don't know. So, because we all drop our phones. But they also have these built into like wristwatches and things like that, so they're a little less intrusive. So if a fall does happen, it can alert people, which is kind of neat. I don't know if there's an iPhone application for this. I searched around, I didn't see that, so who knows if the iPhone has that. This is part of that smart home technology that I was talking about. So there'll be sensors all over the house, in the kitchen, in the laundry room, places like that, in the bathroom, wherever you go, and in other areas of the house. So it monitors movements, it monitors when doors are open. This was really neat, I thought. A lot of times with memory problems, you may forget that you left the stove on. I do that myself sometimes. What it does, it monitors how long the stove is on, the temperature of the stove. Say you put an empty tea kettle on the stove and you turn it on, which happens. It'll record if that's becoming overheated, things like that. There'll be sensors. Also, if you leave the water running in the sink and it starts to overflow, there'll be sensors on the floor, which are like flood sensors. It'll automatically detect that there's a possible flood in the bathroom, or a flood in the kitchen, or a flood in the laundry room, and report that to whatever remote caregiver that you have. So that's really, really neat. In terms of doors being open, it'll monitor when that door was opened, when the door was closed, who opened the door, cameras all over the place. I guess you could have cameras in the bathroom. I'm not sure if that's what you would want or not. Fall sensors, all this stuff would be centrally sent to one monitoring location. There's companies out there, sort of like Brink Security, that type of thing. There's companies out there that set up these systems, that will monitor these systems and report to the care recipient, or to the caregiver actually. So they're really comprehensive, really kind of neat, a lot of interesting technologies to keep people safe and to keep them home longer, if that's what our goal is indeed. A picture of the robot that could be living with you in the near future. This is the robot that was developed in Japan, and as you can see, it's transferring a woman here. Not sure how secure I would feel in the arms of that robot, but I don't know. It's definitely something I think that's coming in the future. Is it here yet? Not really. It's not really practical yet. You need the robot, but you'd also need a team of Japanese engineers living in your house as well. So I don't know if you're up for that. This I thought was neat and kind of strange. What this gentleman is wearing are these are airbags. It's an airbag system for falls. So it doesn't always look like this. These are them when they're deployed. So he would wear this vest around. There'd be an accelerometer in there. If you started to fall, it would automatically deploy these airbags, and you'd have a soft landing. So, it's kind of interesting technology. Is it effective? I don't know. Could it be effective? Possibly. I mean, we have airbags in our cars now. I was thinking about a different type of technology, and I haven't really come up with it yet. But have you guys ever remember playing the air hockey game, where you had the air coming up through the floor? I was thinking of a nursing home that had all air hockey floors. So you could move around really easily, just slide around. If you fell, like the air would cushion you before you actually hit the floor. So it's something I'm working on.